I think this is a great 10-minute daily drawing exercise. It's a bit of a different focus from some of the ones we've had in this series. And if you don't realize this is a series, I do have a playlist of these real-time 10-minute daily drawing exercises. So if you find that, you can find all the ones that you've missed. And this might be a good time to try and do some quick daily drawing for rapid improvement. Now, I don't remember this building. I don't remember this photo, in fact, but it's amongst photos that I took in Ghent in Belgium, so I assume it's somewhere in Ghent. But I thought this was, besides just being a nice shape and a nice angle, I thought this was a great subject to not just practice perspective and foreshortening with all these windows getting closer and closer together and being seen from increasingly different angles as they move from right to left. But it was also a great subject to force us to try and draw more gesturally if we're going to capture this in 10 minutes. Now, I pretty much did capture this in 10 minutes, and that was my goal, maybe 30 seconds extra. But I knew that I couldn't get bogged down in being too precise and too exact with the details of these windows. I would have to settle for getting the perspective angles correct, but suggesting more of the windows than I actually drew. Now, as always, at the start, even in a 10-minute sketch, we need to invest a little bit of time to getting our angles and our proportions correct. So there's more observation and a little bit of blocking in shapes and sizes. I don't know how far down to take this wall yet, but I'm only going to go as far as the gap between the right-hand side windows and the left-hand side windows on the upper wall. I'm using a 0.2 millimeter fine liner pen. And look, if you're finding this video interesting, if you're finding this series helpful, then please help me out and hit the like button for this video and also leave a comment. And if you've got friends who draw, why not tell them of this series? But at this point now, I'm just still trying to really get a feel for what I'm doing, and I am going slower. These are probably the most visually prominent windows, these ones I'm drawing now or have just drawn. And so that's also means it's appropriate that there's possibly a little more detail with them. And that will help the brain to presume that sort of detail in the windows where it hasn't been drawn quite as precisely. And this really is a great perspective exercise, having to push ourselves to get perspective accurate, but without unlimited time, is also a good skill to practice for when we're on location. You'll notice with this series, I'm not, or I don't think I have, used my pen to measure the angle and slide it across. In a 10-minute sketch, one of the things we need to do is learn to observe more carefully and to make the best estimate of the angle with our line as we draw it. We don't have time to be going back and forth, and it also shows perhaps a preciousness that we don't have time for exactness. And by pushing ourselves to do what we think is our best attempt at the angle, and then looking to see whether we got it right or not, that helps us refine our skill of being able to draw freehand simply by observation. Simply doing lots of drawings won't teach us a skill if we don't use that skill, if we don't practice that skill in the drawings. And I decided that I've been using my pen to measure angles quite long enough, and I need to push myself more to be able to just visually judge. So that's what I'm doing in this series, and I think it's been very helpful. However, of course, the same old principle rules apply, however we're working out the angles, and so these angled lines that I've been doing on the left side of the drawing, as they come down towards eye level, the angle has to become less and less. And even in a quick 10-minute drawing, it is still worth, before we start, working out where is eye level. Where do these horizontal lines change direction from sloping one way to sloping the other way? And in this drawing, it's way down the bottom, but if we look at the very base of the building where it goes into the canal, we can see that that horizontal line actually angles the other way. So eye level is between that line and the line sloping the other way above it. So now we have these arches. And fortunately, I realized that while there was a gap between the two lots of windows on the upper level, there was no gap here. There is actually an arched window that sits in that gap. Now, I haven't worked overly hard to make sure that these windows line up in my drawing as they do in life. And they don't exactly line up. They finish just a little bit too soon. But I don't think you notice it at all in the drawing, even now, let alone when it's finished. And so again, this is another benefit of practicing fast drawing, quick drawing. And I don't mean careless, but I mean gestural. Gestural does never mean careless. It always means we're in control, but we're controlling a faster line and faster decisions. But we still need to go slow enough that what we're drawing has some, visual credibility, that in some way it looks and feels like the subject. And that if things are a little distorted, it looks like that's our style rather than we've got it wrong. Deliberate distortion is a great technique to develop in creating our own style and creating some really interesting and creative drawings. But it has to look deliberate. It has to still look as though it's been a controlled distortion and not a careless, unintentional one. So with this second tower, I also need to make sure that the tops of the two towers line up with a reasonable approximation of the perspective angle of that height above ground level. And I don't know if I made it really clear when I was drawing it, but the top of this tower, before the pointy bit comes on top, I actually, in the reference, drew a horizontal line in my mind and saw that it kind of hits quite a bit below that join on the tower that I've done. So I tried to line up on the reference first, where the tower hat starts in relation to the one I've drawn, and then I found that place on my drawing. And again, this is, drawing by alignment, which is, I find, quite essential. So much of our time is up. We're probably 8.5 minutes by now, I think. I really don't pause very often. And I realize I really need to get this bottom section done so that I can have the canal angle. And particularly because the perspective angle changes direction at that point, I think it really does add visually and cognitively a nice foundation, a nice interesting. I think because the angle goes the other way, it actually creates a visual tension in what we see, and it stops the whole thing from running off the page and tightens it up together. So I'm pretty sure now that the 10 minutes is just up, but I wanted to spend another minute doing very quickly the corner, if you like, around the corner. Gee, that extreme right-hand line slopes in a bit. It's not parallel to the tower line, so, oh gosh, there's something happening not quite right with my perspective angles there, is there? I think it's the center line that is not quite right. That maybe improved it a bit. And now we have this other building. Little important things to note, that right-hand side of that gable doesn't go down to the same point as on the left-hand side. See it? The wall came up higher on that side. And again, really easy to miss those things. And look, in all honesty, no one's going to notice that, even if they're comparing it with your photo, probably. But if we get used to not catching the details, then we'll become very good at not catching the details. And eventually, or at least in some of our drawings, things are not going to start looking like our reference. And if it's a well-known building, that can be a problem, because that will just give the impression that something's not quite right. And we don't want anyone's appreciation of our drawing being disturbed by vague uncertainties about what we've done. I didn't have time to do any drawing of the effect of the stonework, a suggestion of the stonework. Unfortunately, I really wanted to, but I thought it's going to need just probably another couple of minutes that I didn't want to give to this. I wanted to keep it really short, and I wanted to, at this point, I wanted to work out where that downpipe was exactly, and I was assuming it was just somewhere in that gap in the upper windows, but it wasn't. It was actually between two of the windows on the left-hand side. Again, nobody would have noticed, but if we get used to finding the details and drawing them accurately, we will become very good, very experienced at finding the details and drawing them accurately. I just wish I'd drawn that line a bit straighter. That is the frustration of this series for me in doing the voiceover. I keep seeing things that aren't quite right. But if I were to redraw this, as I suppose I could do and do a better job, it's kind of defeating the purpose and maybe giving a false impression, because we learn to critique by critiquing. And maybe some drawings we just need to give ourselves something to find not quite right, to hone our skill of finding things not quite right. And we're pretty much done. I do hardly anything here with this vegetation. It's a great contrast to the structure, and that's why I think we should always try and find vegetation around architecture. And then I just have one last final part up here. G'day, I'm Stephen Travers. I hope you're enjoying this series as much as I am. I'll post this photo on my channel community page, so why not find it and screenshot and print it off and have a go drawing this rather impressive but massive canal side building in Ghent. And I thought I was a bit closer to the finish than I actually am. So we'll just see what else I had to do. Was that it? But whatever you do, make sure you have fun. Bye.